Tonight, our channel received a message, supposedly sent by a listener named Kenta from Japan. And this is what it said. Hi, my name is Kenta Mizuno. I'm a university student living in Hamamatsu City, Shizuoka Prefecture, Japan. Recently, I've come across your channel and was deeply impressed with your approach to mysterious stories and legends. Here in Japan, we have countless urban legends, but there is one in particular that has always fascinated and frightened me. The Kisaragi Station legend. This strange, ghostly train station isn't on any map, and the stories of people disappearing after ending up there still haunt internet forums. I think this would be an incredible investigation for your channel. Hope you consider it. Thank you very much. And so we did. What you're about to hear is the story of one of Japan's most chilling and unexplained urban legends. Kisaragi Station, a remote, forgotten train stop said to exist somewhere between reality and something else entirely. Back in 2004, a young woman using the name Hasumi began live blogging her commute on a Japanese forum. Her train ignored all the usual stops, plunging deeper into unfamiliar countryside until it arrived at a station no one had ever heard of. She stepped onto a desolate platform marked Kisaragi, sent a final, desperate message asking for help, and disappeared from the thread forever. No official record of the station has ever been found. No trace of Hasumi has ever resurfaced. Motivated by Kenta's message, we revisited the archived posts and uncovered a sequence of events that continues to disturb the internet to this day. What happened to Hasumi that night? And what exactly is Kisaragi Station? If you're drawn to the unexplained, if you feel a strange curiosity pulling you deeper, stay with us, because this story may be one of the most unsettling things we've ever covered. And if you, like Kenta, have experienced something truly unexplainable, or if you know of a terrifying case we should investigate, send it to us. Please visit our website, Ghordan.com. We're always watching, and your story might just be the next one we bring to light. Now turn up the volume and join us as we uncover the legend of Kisaragi Station. On January 8th, 2004, a user identifying herself only as Hasumi began posting a series of increasingly strange messages on a Japanese internet forum. According to the timestamps, her first post appeared shortly after 11 p.m. She claimed she had boarded a train after finishing work, as she often did. It was a familiar commuter line and her route home was supposed to be uneventful. However, something about that night felt off. After several stops, she noticed that the train wasn't stopping where it usually did. In fact, it wasn't stopping at all. She had missed her regular station, and the scenery outside had changed. Familiar buildings were now gone, replaced by long tunnels and dark mountain terrain. Despite attempts to reach a conductor, Hasumi found herself alone. She posted that all the other passengers had fallen into an unnatural silence, heads down, unmoving. When she finally managed to get off the train, the station sign read Kisaragi Station. This was the first time that name had appeared online in connection with the event. No such station existed on official railway maps. She described it as old and wooden, like something from the early Showa era. There were no staff, no vending machines, and no signs of life. Just one dim light and a narrow path leading into the hills behind the station. Concerned users on the thread encouraged her to contact the police. She did, using her cell phone. But according to her, the officer on the line had never heard of a Kisaragi Station. When she gave the surrounding landmarks, they too were unrecognized. Eventually, the connection dropped. Attempts to redial failed. Hasumi then decided to walk along the tracks, thinking she might reach a town. That's when things became even more bizarre. She wrote that she saw figures standing in the distance, motionless beside the trees. She couldn't make out their faces, but felt they were watching her. The posts became more erratic. At one point, she mentioned a man who appeared out of nowhere, claiming to be a local. He offered her a ride and said he knew where she was. Desperate and cold, Hasumi got into his car. She posted that they were heading down a mountain road and that the man kept muttering something under his breath. Then came the final messages. In her last post, she typed, "My battery's almost gone. He won't stop talking. I think I made a mistake. He's not taking me home. Please help me." And then, silence. She never posted again. Following the incident, other users attempted to trace her location using IP data, train routes, and historical maps. No one could verify the existence of Kisaragi Station. The username Hasumi was never active again. To this day, the location of the original thread is debated. Some archive versions exist on obscure servers, and screenshots have circulated in underground internet communities, but there's no verifiable trace of Hasumi herself. No missing persons report matched her description. No body was ever found, yet the station name, Kisaragi, has since appeared in several unrelated posts by other users over the years. Always in similar contexts: isolated train rides, vanishing routes, odd time slips. Was it a hoax? A psychological episode? Or something else entirely? Some believe Hasumi was the victim of an elaborate prank or alternate reality game. Others are convinced she stumbled into another realm, one that exists just outside the edge of our perception, accessible only under specific, unknowable conditions. What remains is a string of cryptic messages from someone who vanished into the dark. Up next, we examine the few known facts from this case and present the analysis of a paranormal researcher who spent years dissecting Hasumi's account. Stay with us. The journey into the unknown has only begun. Following Hasumi's disappearance and the eerie trail of messages she left behind, the case quickly drew the attention of paranormal researchers and cultural scholars across Japan. Among them was Dr. Kenji Nakamura, a respected researcher in contemporary folklore and urban legends, with a focus on unexplained phenomena in modern Japanese society. Dr. Nakamura examined Hasumi's original forum posts in detail, dissecting her experience from a cultural and psychological perspective. According to his findings, several key elements in her story align with recurring themes in Japanese supernatural folklore, particularly those involving transitional spaces, or what some refer to as liminal zones. One of the first anomalies in Hasumi's account is the train that diverted from its regular route, bypassing all familiar stations. Dr. Nakamura notes that this concept of a seemingly ordinary journey becoming something untraceable is deeply embedded in modern urban myths. These tales often start in mundane, recognizable environments like public transportation, but suddenly reality bends. The moment the train skips a known station, the boundaries between the physical world and something far more obscure begin to dissolve. Next is the appearance of a station that doesn't exist on any map, Kisaragi Station. Hasumi's description suggests a place caught between dimensions, an old wooden platform, no other passengers in sight, with station names that don't appear in any railway database. Even more unsettling is what came after. She attempted to contact the police and fire department. Neither agency could locate her based on the information she provided. According to Dr. Nakamura, this kind of institutional disconnection, where familiar systems suddenly fail, is a common motif in stories of people crossing into other realms. Cultural references in Hasumi's writing also caught his attention. The neighboring stations listed on the platform, Tasukare and Nanokuni, can be loosely interpreted in Japanese as twilight and land of roots, terms often linked to sleep, endings, and even the afterlife. These linguistic coincidences, while subtle, may not be accidental. As she continued walking through empty streets and tunnels, Hasumi described hearing strange sounds, bells ringing in the distance, footsteps echoing without a source. These sensory details, Dr. Nakamura explains, mirror symptoms of disorientation and sensory deprivation, a psychological state where the mind attempts to create familiar patterns in an unfamiliar environment. The final chapter of Hasumi's experience is perhaps the most disturbing. A strange man offering help, who insists on giving her a ride. After entering his vehicle and texting her location to the forum, she claims they began passing through a tunnel, then nothing. She was never heard from again. Dr. Nakamura does not attempt to confirm or deny the authenticity of her story. Rather, he approaches it with cautious academic curiosity. In his analysis, Hasumi's narrative holds an internal logic, emotional consistency, and symbolic structure that set it apart from typical online hoaxes. It mirrors countless stories from folklore of travelers unknowingly stepping into sacred or forbidden places, crossing a threshold from which there may be no return. And perhaps that is what disturbs us most. Not whether the story is true, but whether it could be. The legend of Kisaragi Station remains one of Japan's most chilling, unsolved internet mysteries. In our next and final segment, we'll reflect on the implications of this case and what it reveals about our fear of the unknown, especially in a hyper-connected age where not even GPS can find the places that shouldn't exist. The story of Hasumi and the Kisaragi Station continues to haunt Japan's digital folklore landscape, not because of what was proven, but because of what still lingers unanswered. No evidence of her whereabouts was ever uncovered. No known records of a station by that name have surfaced, and no one has successfully replicated the journey she described. Yet the online trail she left behind remains chillingly intact, a series of messages typed in real time, filled with confusion, fear, and that final plea for help before silence. Skeptics argue it was all just a hoax, a clever writing experiment. But others, including seasoned researchers, point out the consistency in her details, the cultural references too obscure to be fabricated, and the psychological realism of her reactions. In the end, perhaps that's the most unsettling part. Hasumi's account feels too real to dismiss, yet too impossible to prove. It's as if she stepped into a crack in our world, one that opened briefly, then sealed shut behind her. Here at Ghordan, we were introduced to this legend by a Japanese viewer who asked us to investigate, and now we pass this story on to you. What do you think really happened that night? Was Kisaragi Station a fabrication, or did Hasumi board a train that took her somewhere no one ever returned from? If you've ever experienced anything unexplainable, something too strange, too specific to ignore, we want to hear your story. Even if no one else would believe you, we will. Send it through our website, Ghordan.com, or leave a comment below. We read everything, and who knows, your case might be the next one we investigate. And if this video reaches enough people, we may return with a second part, diving deeper into the newest posts and strange findings that have started to reappear online, even as recently as last week. Before you go, we highly recommend watching this related episode, a chilling account of a childhood memory that still haunts the witness to this day. The Thing Beneath the Lake. A face no one else saw. Tap the video now and join us on another journey into the unknown.